Hello, everybody. It has been a bit since I have been live. First of all, I want to apologize for that. We could talk about it more, but I'm going to be painting here in a little bit, so we'll just chat about what we're doing that. But this is just a normal hobby hangout. I'm just going to be painting some really cool Dweg home models that I have for Conquest, the last argument of kings. And yeah, we're just going to be having a good time. So if you think of anything that you would like to chat about here in the, obviously in the chat, go ahead and throw it in there, and we'll go ahead and do that. So let me go to the downward cam here and make sure it's all working good. And I am all out of sorts. I had a I got a new light box, and so I was trying it out, and when I went to move the light box away, my goodness, it like pulled the camera arm with it, and it was just a mess. But the reason I've been not streaming is a few things. One, YouTube's been terrible lately with streaming specifically. Like right now it says no data, even though I can see that the image is transferring and stuff. So yeah. Weird. Let's see. We'll pop out the chat so I can see it better. And we're gonna skip this song because it sounds like it's just 1,000 angry xylophones screaming at once, and it's real annoying. Okay. hey, okay, so we got Spezia, hey buddy, Steven, the Self Rock, and Willie, how y'all doing? Okay, so what I have here is this really sweet model, and I want to show it off because it's like one of my favorite things ever. It is a Founders Edition that Parabellum was kind enough to send me. So in Conquest, obviously you have like your big square bases. This is a hero platform essentially. And we have like a hero on top of here, and he has like his little entourage of dudes that lock in. And when they're all in the right place, it makes this incredible little scene vignette thing. So I'm excited to jump into that. And really what I'm gonna be doing is just throwing down a bunch of black paint to work as a base, working around the lava streams that I already started to do. So let me go ahead and grab that, the black anyway. And for that, I'm going to be using a fun new paint that I have recently fallen in love with, and that is from Warcolors. They sent me a few paints, mainly just some colors that I don't use a lot, like orange and stuff. I don't paint with a ton of oranges, and so I didn't have a chance to use a lot of this stuff. And then when it came to cranking out something I needed like a black primer on, these things were terrific. Let me see. It's essentially their contrast paint, to put it, you know, as honest as possible. There we go. Oh, thank you, Spezia, so much, buddy. Been a long time since I caught a hobby hang. It's been a long time since I had one, buddy. Between YouTube troubles and, you know, a little bit of hobby burnout. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a weird couple of, I don't know, the last like 2-3 months or something like that. It's just, I decided I'm basically off of social media because it just bums me out, kind of steals my hobby joy as I'm learning more and more. So that's been a bit of a bummer, but other than that, we're doing good. Now again, I'm just throwing a little hair on my brush, black down just to kind of block out some of the spaces here, so it's not going to look fancy. It's going to look like I'm just halfway trying here, but we'll build it back up and it'll look rad. Let's see. Nice, Willie. Setting up to build my Cruel Boys half of 2 Dominion boxes. Nice. That's awesome. I'll be honest with you. Earlier today, I just finished my notes for covering the Cruel Boys. And I like them so much more than I thought I would, if I'm honest with you. Because, like, I mean, I've been pretty honest about, like, the models just, they're not my jam. That's totally fine. They look too Lord of the Ringsy for my taste. But then I read their little entry. I mean, when I read them in Dominion, I was like, oh, these guys are so cool. And then when I read their entry in the battle tome, I was like, man. These guys are rad. Weird. This is like... trying to figure out why it's parting as if it's like water. I'm gonna get traditional paint. Let's try that. Not sure what's going on with that. I guess it's my first time using it, but whatever. Kill a boss on We Promise It's Not the Warg, Please Don't Sue Us. Biofoot. Oh, buddy, thank you so much. Just finished Alariel. Nice. Alariel, man, that's a model that has always seemed intimidating. You've had that on your hobby desk for a while, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct? Okay, I'm gonna turn this so we can get rid of that. I'm not sure what it is. It seems to be reacting somehow with the primer, even though I've used it on this kind of primer before, but for some reason the watercolor paint just kind of like separated. It is weird. That's all right. So happy to see Dwegum right now. Yeah, I am too. I had a wonderful weekend. Just kind of, I needed to reset and like retune into what I love about the hobby, quite frankly, because there's been so much frickin' internet drama regarding Games Workshop that I'm just kind of done. And I had a wonderful time. I met up with a local guy named Aaron, who was a wonderful buddy, and he put me in contact with someone named Jacob, who basically he has a ton of Dweghelm, but he doesn't, like, it's not his preferred army, and so we all met up for a game day. Because even though I have Dweg stuff, I don't have it all built and like ready to go. I'm still slowly working on that. This is actually the first time I've painted in probably a month. So yeah, I'm getting back into it. Takes a little bit of time, but yeah, about 2-3 months. Ooh, bless you for working on Alariel for that long. But I have really thoroughly been enjoying Conquest and its community, and everyone's been so nice. So yeah, getting back into painting and wargaming and that kind of stuff. I did have fun with my buddy locally named Jeremy, who he has started a Soulblight army, and we played a couple Path to Glory games, and I have not gotten around to making them. I hope he doesn't think that I hate playing against him, and that's why I didn't make the videos. But yeah, we got a few smaller games in just to get him. I think he started at the 600 point level, and then he painted like a madman, got up to the 1000 point starting level that me and my guy Steve were playing at. So that's exciting. We have another player, and then next week I am playing against my buddy Rob, who I believe he is also doing Soulblight. I know he has a bunch of Nighthaunt, but I can't remember for the life of me what he said he was currently working on. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. So we got some cool stuff coming in the local AOS scene that has me feeling pretty positive. I'm realizing more and more as I get older that like I just need to play games to stay excited or enthused about the hobby, because if I just let my online interactions be the full extent of my hobby, then I get very despondent. And honestly, if I could choose a word to describe my last like 3 months or so with the hobby, it would be despondent. It's just, I got sent some really nasty emails from people. I got sent a whole bunch of debacles with now on Twitter it blew up the oh my god, the YouTuber NDA thing, and everyone's freaking out, and it's just a whole bunch of stuff. And I was just like, man, I just needed I needed a break, you know? I mean, no one's on this channel has ever blamed me for that, but just wanted to explain. And I'm feeling good. I'm getting back into it. I got a mountain of Dweg home to paint. I mean, I'm way ahead on painting my chaos, meaning I have more stuff painted than I could possibly hope to buy anytime soon with the Path to Glory rules. I am going to go back and refocus on my Stormcast, though. I know some people were curious about that. They were like, "Oh no, he moved on from Stormcast. Now all is lost. He's gonna sell them off and that kind of stuff." It's like, no. I actually like the current aesthetic for the Stormcast way more than. I mean, I like the Sacrosanct Chamber quite a bit. I'll be honest, but I like this one more. I like the hoplites and the phalanx and yeah, just that whole kind of scheme. Let's see. Looking for here's a question. Question from Spezia, buddy. You got it. A friend of mine is painting a Star Drake. They have started a commission business. We're trying to find a blend that will give the aged natural paper white with greenish tones for a Star Drake. You know, I don't know how to achieve that, but what my mind immediately goes to, check out the website for Mantic Miniatures, because they have an army for Kings of War called the Trident Realms, where I remember they have a model that looks like that, where it's white, but it's like an aged, you know, you don't have to go like all the way with like floral colors to, you know, it's a kind of a Seaborn based army. You don't have to lean that hard into it, but I would check that out. I think that probably has some, and they, I believe, have tutorials on how they achieve their stuff. But that's where I would start. But unfortunately, that's not a scheme I have ever painted in, and I'm somebody of which Jack can probably attest. I see you're in the chat, buddy. What's up? He can attest to the fact that, like, once I'm done with a paint scheme, it falls out of my skull. Like, I painted some Fire Slayers I painted some Fire Slayers for myself and then sold the army to Jack. And then when Jack asked me to, like, paint a few extra dudes, I was like, how in the hell did I do this the first time? Because even though I switch armies weekly and multiple times have gone back and done the same army twice, I never think I'm going to do it again. You foolish fool. Okay. Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't see your question, Jack. Yes, this is a base. It's so in Conquest, you put all your guys on a square, like a regiment stand, they call it, where there's 4 dudes per one. And this is like a special Founders Edition model of... It's the equivalent of having like an epic hero diorama type thing for a model. Kind of like Hendrasta, she has her big rock she stands on or whatever. Same concept, but applied to a game with rank and file bases and stuff. Okay, got that. Let's see what else we got. Question, Tim, hey dude, hope you're doing well. I am, thank you so much. What the fuck is he playing? Let's see. Jack, I know it's been a minute, but seeing your corner army in the Amber Vault campaign helped me convince a friend to make the jump. Nice. Jack, I'm gonna gush here for a minute because I have the microphone. I'm gonna go like full wedding singer. Sir, I will strangle you with this microphone. seeing how much Jack has gone from I hate painting to having multiple amazing looking armies. Like, he uses a painting service and his buddy Noah, and that's awesome. But like, I know that Jack painted those corn dudes. I watched him weep when he never rolled reinforcements on Path to Glory. And he did a fantastic job. I love Jack's corn army. Honestly, most of the Chaos factions, I think when they have white armor, which is what Jack has, like they has like kind of white bone color, like I just think it looks so good. So that's all. That's my gush. Check out Rerolling Ones to see more awesome armies. And to watch Shu roll all of the ones in the whole world. Sweet, okay. So all I did was block the colors out, and I'm going to go back and dry brush. And then either the contrast yellow there is just to kind of mark where some of the bigger flows of magma are. I'm going to go back and add more and that kind of stuff. I'm going to use the Kindle Flame dry brush paint to make it look like it's glowing and molten, and it's going to be cool. So we're going to move on to the 4 schmoes. One of them here is a Earthbender. He, I don't know if you guys can see this really well. So he has his arm up and kind of crossed over his chest, and this is just a big old stream of like rock that locks right in like that. And so it's like he's commanding, I didn't glue it because it could be so much harder to paint with it glued, but he's basically like pulling forth a tidal wave of rocks. Which actually, come to think of it, I can just base this now. Do the base paint color. Let's see. I love the new book with battle line if storm host rules. Exactly what we needed. Yeah, obviously for channel purposes, I've more or less been really focused on the lore of things. My current idea is to. So this coming week is going to be the Auric War Clans, and there's gonna be one video kind of introducing the book for those of you, any of us who are new to the game, and then I'm gonna have a video for each of the sub factions. So Cruel Boys, Iron Jaws, Bone Splitters, and that'll make up next week. But once that is done, I'm gonna go back to Stormcast and start fleshing everything out in more detail, talking about the different chambers and all that kind of stuff. Let's see, here we go. I'm just going to set this off to the side so it can dry. And let's paint ourselves some dwarves. Now here's the question. Do I make my guys like Fire Slayers and have everyone have red big old beards? Or do I do something different? Mordian57, thank you, buddy. Good to see you again as well. Let me just pull a few brushes out here. Rolling Ones, Jack. Doug, what's up with these reasonable takes? You need to be an outrage merchant and talk about GW's Gestapo tactics when it comes to content creators, because that's where the money lies. I could not agree with you more. Yeah. What I love more than anything about the wargaming hobby is just the overflowing amount of intellectual property lawyer. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to go into it. I can't get over all the amazing content creators who also happen to be lawyers and what is it? The 40K Badcast is a podcast, very explicit, not safe for work. It's very funny. But they were making a joke about how it's like, isn't this it's insane how this hobby just only seems to attract people who are masters of international and global business and logistics, and because everybody has an opinion on how Games Workshop should do stuff. And I was like, oh man, that's good. Let me see. Lost my spot here. Hey, Doug, big fan. Keep up. Keen for your Cruel Boy lore videos. Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for days. Yes, that one is going to be up Tuesday. That's what we're going to go with. Have you thought about doing any more Warcry battle reports? I have. As I kind of settle down a little bit and work through some of the garbage going on in the world right now, I am basically like, okay, I need to figure out a way to like streamline the way I do battle reports, so I have like a quick recording setup and that kind of thing. If only I knew people who did battle reports. If only. But yes, I do intend to go back to doing them. I probably won't do full AOS, like huge games, just because of the table size requirements, and it just generally needs to be something that I can do in my own time. But I am excited to get back at it. Let's see. As someone deeply entrenched in the shipping industry, it tickles me seeing people complain about their plastic models taking a little longer to reach them during a global pandemic. Entitlement. Here's the thing. You're wrong. They need those armies, Jack. Do you even think about your fellow man? Oh, man. People get so silly. I realized this week, I actually basically hopped off of... I mean, I didn't delete my account or anything, but I had to hop off of Twitter and... what's the other one? Facebook for the most part. If you want to hang out and chat with me, we have a Discord, and I'm gonna try starting this next week. I'm gonna set up like automated replies on my other social media that just says, if you want to hang out, go see me on Discord. Because it's so nice to have one place that's more conversational rather than social media and the various amounts of, we'll say, crap storms that go along with it. Okay. Let's see. Hey Doug, how you doing? I'm good. I have a chaos lore question. Oh, Hans. Okay, let's do it. Can Khorne corrupt Tzeentch or Tzeentch Khorne and so on? Oh, so can like one chaos god corrupt the followers of another? My understanding is yes. I'm not quite sure how that works, if I'm honest with you. And by that I mean, like, do they lose all the blessings of the other one? I mean, they vie for each other, and certainly Archaon comes in and tries to steal the best from everybody, because that's what he'd do. But, yeah. My dad works at GW, and he said that the bosses just use the sales receipts to light their cigars while throwing away the key to all their product. Get this man a social media account. His message needs to be heard. If you guys want to laugh, I mean, and just, you have to have a sense of humor. Be able to laugh at some of the absurdity of our own hobby, right? And not get upset or get frustrated. I really do recommend you listen to not the most recent episode of the Badcast, 40K Badcast, but the one before it, where they were, they had this segment where the two hosts were talking about the Games Workshop updated intellectual property deal when a bunch of content creators for 40K were like, hey, we're all done. And people were all mad about Games Workshop ruining fan fiction and all these kinds of things. But essentially, the two hosts had a very reasonable and mature conversation, but one of them set up a bell, and every time he would ring the bell, the other host would read a absurd, over-the-top, like, tweet or Facebook post or something like that regarding the topic. And so, they're having like a nice and reasonable discussion, and all of a sudden the bell would go off and you hear like, brothers and sisters, join with me. And people would talk like they're leading a revolution. Like, my God, this is the most boring kind of LARP I've ever seen. I mean, you don't have to like Games Workshop's policy. I'm not asking you to, but the mannerisms with which some people treated it like it's their whole world, and it distorts their perceptions of this is like a really small thing. And sometimes you just gotta laugh. Let's see. I had a Twitter account and then I disabled it. Yeah, I deleted it from my phone. I still have it. Because I there are strong sides to it. Like, I mean, I do like the more one-to-one, like, post and reply. It feels more conversational than other media platforms, which I like. But anymore, it's like, man, just reach out to me on Discord. Ain't nobody got time for this. Reject humanity, transcend to orc. Oh wait, it's Saturday, right? It's Saturday. I can talk about this. Games Workshop sent me one of those like kilo wagons or whatever. What's it called? A kilo rig. There we go. A kilo rig for 40K orcs, and I'm like, cool. Now all I need is a 40K army. Actually, that's not true. I have a 40K army. I have Tyranids, and I like them quite a bit, actually. I have just recently started to understand their rules. So that's been a big deal. The first game I played of 40K, I just got absolutely dumpstered by my buddy Steve, who I've mentioned before in our Path of Glory stuff. He has quite a bit of 40K throughout history, the history of 40K, and his stuff is just incredible looking, and so he's an absolute joy to play against. And so it's been quite a bit of fun to relearn 40K. It's interesting coming at it with a fresh set of eyes compared to the people who have played throughout the last edition, because there's a lot of like, you don't seem to like this kind of things you see online where it's like, well, then why are you playing it? But yeah, I don't know. It looks cool. I'm playing orcs now. Doug, send it my way. I could do that, buddy. Let's see. Doug, I saw your MCP minis on Instagram, and knowing your love of Spidey, have you read One More Day? Why does that sound familiar? One More Day. Give me just a hot sec here. Let me check that out. Wonder, Spider-Man, One More Day. No, I have not. That doesn't look like one that I've read before. Just played my first game of 40K with my friend Noah. It was terrible. Oh, but you brought demons, didn't you? Demons are what you might call a bit of a no-go. Bit of a non-starter. You lucky man, you a killer rig. Yeah, you know, it was very unexpected. Because I definitely like, so Games Workshop has asked before, like, hey, what kind of products do you want, and that kind of stuff. And I was like, just give me the AOS stuff. I don't talk about 40K enough on the channel to, you know, I feel guilty taking things I know I'm not going to use. It's just me. Also, I'm starting to think that this gel medium of the war colors is just not working really well for the what do you call it? Citadel primer. We'll go with this. Oh, I'm getting some mixed messages. Don't read one more day. It's the reason I stopped buying Spidey stuff. Oh, I don't know. You got, okay. Battle of the Minds. Why should I read it and why should I not? Is it just too sad? Because, like, I survived the episode of Futurama with Seymour. My heart is callous and empty. My emotions have already been rent asunder. So I can do that. Because it looks very sweet on the cover. Silver Tower, praise Zinchi. They sent us a killer rig too, which is why I'm going to make an orc army. Yeah, I mean, what, 2 of those suckers? I mean, I don't know how much they are points wise. I haven't looked at the new orc stuff, but seems like a good start, right? 2 big centerpiece models. Isn't that a thing that Games Workshop tries to push us towards anymore? Lots of big centerpiece models. It seems like it. I mean, the last few armies have had multiple options. That's not me being sarcastic or negative. That's an observation. It just seems like they've been pushing more and more with the bigger, meaner sculpts. One more day. While it does stop a lot of Spidey-Man storylines, however, is in my opinion the most emotionally impacting Spidey comic. The end of Mary Jane's love and a lot more. Nice. Okay. That is quite a sales pitch. Part 2, it's an emotional send-off for Peter Parker. It's incredible, and multiple times I was in tears. Oh, dang. Right on. I'm just reading your guys' descriptions of these things. Let's see. How'd you feel about Spectacular Spider-Man? You know, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm not much of a comic guy. I don't know. I was when I was younger. But it's been years, and honestly, comics seem so hard to get into now. Like, I look at how much stuff there is just kind of in the Avengers, you know, I don't want to say universe, but you know what I mean, like that entire conglomerate. And I'm just like, I just don't feel like there's a really good onboarding point anymore. So it's one of those things that I have sort of let go as I've gotten older. I was like, I can't keep up. There's so much to keep up with. And honestly, I tapped out of the Avengers series pretty early on. Like, I stopped watching. The last one that I saw was Civil War. Well, I guess I saw Doctor Strange. But you know, I feel like all those first hero movies kind of sound the same to me, where it's just like, here's a bad guy, it's the same as the good guy but in gray, and they're real mean. You're like, oh, okay, cool, that's it. DC's new 52, getting in pretty easy with them. Nice. Let's see. What is going on right now in the world of AOS? So we just had the Stormcast and Orc books drop. One thing I want to say about them is I had to sit and think about it. Unfortunately, I didn't get my review copies until like right before the information share date was up, so I didn't really have time to get like videos made and that kind of stuff, which is pretty typical. But I will say I thoroughly like what they've been doing with Path to Glory. It's interesting. I don't think it addressed as many things as I was hoping it would. But then again, you know, we keep getting the idea that there's going to be kind of like how 40K has like their little narrative packs that are set like in a specific place and time. I feel like we keep getting mentions that those exist without actually seeing any of them. I'm gonna assume it's just related to like production delays and that kind of stuff. You'd think it'd be an easier one because it's just printing material rather than, you know, having to have printed models and a box set and all these things. But I don't know. Again, I'm not the armchair logistics expert. I just assumed because there's fewer parts it would be a smoother process, but apparently not. But all in all, I thought it's been looking pretty cool. I really dig a lot of the options you have. I like the thematic nature of Path of Glory, where, for example, like orcs don't capture terrain; they just sack it. Oh man, that's so cool to me. This guy is decked out in gear. He's not even really wearing anything. And this guy, we just got to get his cloak. Hey Doug, what kind of books do you like to read? Do you have a favorite author, perhaps? You know, I need to get better at reading. My problem is that I get whenever I read, I get tired, and so I tend to doze off a lot, and so it makes it very difficult to get through a book. What I need to do is start getting into more audiobooks while I hobby and hang out and paint and stuff. I think that would be really, really good for me. But I don't have a whole lot to mention right now. As far as, you know, the kinds of things that I enjoy reading, you know, I have always been one of those people who just gets really excited about something for a short amount of time, devours information on it, and then wants nothing to do with it afterwards. Like I remember in high school, I was like hyper focused on World War II history. Like there was just something clicked in the brain, and I was like, this is deeply fascinating. But then the next week it was something else, and so I don't know. Man, I'm all over the place. Let's grab some silver color here. I want that one. I want Lead Belcher. Let's see. I'm just catching up the comments here. 1 second here. Filefoot, I really hope we don't have to wait years to watch Gordrak take the fight to Archaon. Agreed. Really hoping something comes of this whole destruction thing sooner rather than later. Like, you know, we've pretty well established that destruction is the main villain, I guess we could say, of this particular point in time, this overarching part of the story. And I'm really hoping that that continues and that we get to see how that looks when it's focused on other factions besides Order. You know, like I want stories of Archaon having to deal with a whole bunch of really annoying orcs and stuff like that. Like show me what that looks like for everybody. Because, you know, in AOS, a rising tide dooms all ships. Whenever one faction's stock goes up, it just like seems to have a cascading terrible effect on everybody else, which I love. Let's see. Where's my Wrath of the Gorka Chosen campaign book? Oh man, I would be all about that. Yeah, I don't want them to immediately jump into another campaign series necessarily, but I did like looking forward to regular updates to various armies, you know. And I'm not even someone who, you know, obviously, guys, if you watch the channel, you know, I'm not very competitive. It's not like I'm, you know, sitting around, you know, counting all the reasons why Games Workshop needs to fix, you know, X faction or whatever. I'm not that kind of guy, but at the same time, it is really nice when every army can look and be like, ooh, we got a little something. Let's check it out. And sometimes it's a big something. Sometimes not so much. Sometimes it's just a war song revenant. He's cool though. I like him. As a model, I definitely like him. I don't really know what he does on the table. Let's see. Hey, David Sanchez from Argentina. Shoot dang. Hey, buddy. How you doing? On AOS, I love that they didn't rip Slaves to Darkness out of the gods. I like how they done a cities type with one unit build. Not counting as battle line is a minus, though. Yeah, I feel very strange about Slaves to Darkness at the moment. So they are my Path to Glory army. But to be honest with you, the change in Chaos Warriors from a 5-man to a 10-man unit and the subsequent price jump, it didn't put a sour taste in my mouth. It just made it really hard for me at the moment, just because we do have a smaller scene and we are playing smaller point games. It became somewhat difficult for me to list build because I'm constantly playing, you know, 600 point to 1,000 point levels, you know, I mean, at sized games, which is awesome. I love those sized games because it's usually done real quick. But at the same time, you know, when a unit of Chaos Warriors is 200 points, that's a third of your army at 600 points. So it's just like, barg. And I know Marauders exist. I don't like Marauders. I know that's a personal preference. And that's why I don't complain about the book at all, because I think at 2,000 points where the game is balanced at, Chaos Warriors are awesome. It's just specifically as I locally am trying to slow grow a local scene. So yeah, kind of gonna put those guys in timeout just for a smidge and focus on my Stormcast again, because, you know, if nothing else, I can take more variety of units at different point levels and stuff. At least for Marvel, I'd recommend starting with something self-contained like Spider-Girl, world where Peter and Mary Jane had a daughter who eventually took up her father's mantle, or X-Earth. That's a great suggestion. Thank you so much. Yeah, something self-contained. I like that. That's a great... That's usually how I point people to Black Library novels as well. Pick something that you don't need a ton of exposition about. Which is why I've always sent people to, like, City of Secrets and, you know, those kinds of things. Just books that just don't require an immense amount of explanation. Or the explanation is within them. Let's see. Totes fair on the cost. My local scene is more casual than narrative, so it works pretty good for us. Fair enough. Sorry if this has been asked, but what are you painting? I am painting a few things. So I have my Dweg home, which is the dwarfs of the game Conquest, The Last Argument of Kings. So yeah, it's kind of like their dwarven archetype, and what I am actually painting, like specifically model-wise, this big hunk of resin in front of me is a giant base for like a hero unit. Rather than having like necessarily massive sculpted centerpiece models like Games Workshop does, they just have fancy bases and ways to make your rank and file forces look a little more special. Which is an approach that I kind of respect. But Parabellum, who makes Conquest, was kind enough. I told them, hey, you know, if you guys can send me some Dweg home stuff, I'm looking to, you know, paint up an army for that, and I'm going to use them in like tutorials and that kind of stuff. And they did me one better, and they sent me this guy, and he's like a Founders exclusive model. Like I have like a certificate of authenticity that says it's number, I think it's like 168 out of 250. Something like that. They made a limited run of them, and I was like so honored that they sent me this. I was like, oh man, this is like, it's a model, but it's also kind of a trophy. In a vague sense, I guess. I don't know. Very excited. Got that. I don't think this guy has a lot of metal on him. Oh, just his little pick. Hey Hugh. Okay, military joke. Why do people become tankers? Because their fingers were too big for the trigger. Well, the U.S. was like, F it, drive a gun. Exactly. Spetsy, are you in the military? Random question to ask somebody in chat, but I'm just curious. Always liking to know people more. And just a little bit here. Sweet, it's coming together. Oh, I have some news for folks. So a couple, I guess 2 weeks ago now. It just feels like it's been a lot longer. Forgive me. 2 weeks ago now, I put up a video that was like, I have an idea for a game. Do you want to join me in it? And some incredible and extremely humbling events took place where now I do have the rights to a game. I'm in the process of restructuring and rewriting it to make it fit my vision. I'm basically taking what was I think a much simpler and direct and to the point version of Necromunda and turning it into a fantasy game. I mean, that's how I would describe the original thing it's based on. The original rule set is called Outlands. You can get it on Wargamer Vault or something like that, like the drive-through RPG sub-site for war games. And it's a very cool set. It's written, I think, in a very confusing way. And so a lot of what I'm doing is like, okay, instead of like, we just need to reorganize the rules. We need to kind of put them in I think, a better order. And then we can get into the nitty gritty of playtesting and cracking into it and that kind of stuff. And what I mean by that is just like, cover would be mentioned some random place. It's like, no, let's bring cover into the shooting section because that's where it matters. Let's, and the same thing with, we can have it referenced in the terrain section in case people are curious, and just that kind of stuff where it's just moving things around to help facilitate easier learning. But yeah, I don't know if you guys are interested in that, but let me know. I can talk about it some more. I can share everything at this point. I don't want to dominate the conversation if folks aren't into it. We can talk about anything. If you wanted to focus on AOS, we can do that. I gotta say, these, regardless of what you want to talk about, I will say that these new battle tomes they sent me with the Stormcast and Orcs, they definitely repumped my invigoration for AOS. Outlands, was it? Yes, it is Outlands. Been meaning to hit your Patreon after I heard the news. Oh, thank you so much, buddy. That's very sweet of you. On your game, I saw that. November, I'll have more capacity for outside projects. If you'd have me, I'd love to help write for it. I would love that. But yeah, I'm very excited. I oscillate between dedicated and thrilled to overwhelmed and like imposter syndrome of I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But the guy who actually made the game system, Outlands, he's out of the UK, super sweet fella. And he was like, hey, that's totally normal. No one starts life as a game designer. No one trains for it. You just kind of do and you learn. I was like, oh, that's sweet. Didn't need to say that. But yeah. Let's see. No, just got a lot of family. Work and mental health, and I have won 8 national solo awards. Sweet, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, so, okay. Since no one told me to shut up, I'm going to talk about my game because I'm excited about it. It's been dominating my life. Anytime I'm not writing notes for a video, I'm trying to chip away at the mountain of work that exists for this game. So essentially, it all comes down to a system called the Rise mechanic. It is the property of the guy who wrote Outlands. I don't have his name in front of me, so I don't want to butcher it. But essentially what you do is if you have a model, we'll say we're using this guy here. Let me clean off my brush and we'll go through a full demonstration. Let's say this is our guy and oh my god, I'm having the weirdest wargame problem. I don't have any dice. Okay. So here's our boy we want to use. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize that was turned. You're going to roll 1 die for each health point that he has left. Most models have 3, or at least start with 3. His version of the game uses D6s. These are all I have near me is D20s, so we're just going to finagle this. Essentially, you're going to roll a bunch of dice, and on D6s, any result of a 1 or a 2. I'm confused because I'm changing it to a D10 system, so I have to remember what it was. Any result of a 1 or a 2 is bad, and any result of a 3-up is good. So you'll take your 3 dice, roll them, and let's say there's a 1, and we got 2 5s, right? We'll just say that for the purposes of this. Obviously, like I said, it's normally a D6 system. Now, what this means is my guy gets 2 actions. So you roll as many dice as he has health, but only the 3-ups matter when it comes to determining how many actions you can take that round. The other die, anything that has a 1 or a 2, your opponent takes and they roll it. And if they get a 3 or higher, they get a reaction. And so it goes back and forth like this, where every turn there's an active player who's picking a model, rolling a number of dice equal to their health, and then the reactive player gets to have actions in the active player's turn to respond to them. So if I have my 2 actions, let's create a little scene here. If I have my 2 actions for that guy, and the first action is to move out into the open, and this guy with his big old flamethrower is standing there, he can spend his reaction die to shoot. He's going to interrupt that guy's turn, react to it, shoot him. And if he survives, then my dude here can spend his second action. So that's essentially how it works. Genuine question, where did you find and why do you have plain white D20s? Where did I find these? I think for all of my non-D6 dice, there is a local hobby store called Tempest Games. They're up in Cedar Rapids, and they have just a huge, like, it is this massive fish bowl of a jar of just different dice. So I was able to grab, I think, 4 black and 4 white D10s because that's what the game system is actually going to be built around. Yeah. Is it primarily a Western? Are you going to keep that sort of setting? No, it actually doesn't really have much of a... it's kind of like... Well, the Outlands, the original game it's going to be based off of, was really more of like a do whatever you want kind of thing. Kind of like Frostgrave, you know? It's like, we're in space! That's it. That's your lore section. You know, and then it's just an open set of rules for you to kind of craft whatever story you want. So that's what it originally was, and then me and a few folks are essentially world building. We started with the cosmology and have since moved into talking about the various factions. We got some cool ideas. I'm not ready to share those cool ideas yet, but you know, I mean, I'm not claiming to be the next frickin' Tolkien, but it's an interesting world that will hopefully give me plenty to talk about in videos and stuff. I went out today and I grabbed a copy of The White Box, which, if you know what that is, it's very exciting. It's basically a game maker's toolkit, just for helping you prototype and plan stuff out. I'm escaping to one place uncorrupted by Games Workshop space. Exactly. In space, no one can hear Neckbeard scream. How are you? I'm good. I'm getting better every day. They are... Oh, Vince is in the chat. Hey, buddy. Thank you so much. They are magic spin-down life counters. You can tell as the numbers are randomized across the faces, they are in order. Ah. Yeah, well, I know... Okay, I see what you're saying. Yes, they are life counters. The green one is a dice for Ariadne from the game Infinity. I know that because that's their symbol. But yeah. Let's see. How you been, Vince? I haven't well, we started we started hanging out with another couple because it's quite frankly the first couple friends that we've had since we moved back to Iowa. My buddy Jeremy and his partner, but we started watching True Detective, like season 1 on Wednesday nights, and so unfortunately I seem to miss every Warhammer Weekly, but because we're out way too late and then we come home and we're just like exhausted because we're old people. But yeah, I am excited to go watch the Auric War Clans episode. I want to hear everybody's thoughts about it. I'm gonna be honest. I put it in the chat with the Ruling Ones guys that I think Bone Splitters came out good. And Jack thinks that not that they got a raw end of the deal, but he puts them, like, if we're going to rate the factions that are available in the book, he puts them at 4. So that would be behind Ironjawz, Cruel Boys, and the Big Wall. But I also have been sort of in my own little world lately. I just needed to retreat a little bit. I think it was healthy for me. To avoid burnout, but I just kind of retreated a little bit and I was like, I just need to recharge. Felt good. Let's see. Hey Doug, what you painting today? I mean, I know it's a dwarf, but what for? This is for Conquest, The Last Argument of Kings. Amazing book. I love orcs. Your feeling on Bone Splitters puts you in a minority for sure. My thing is, I've had the same strategy for Bone Splitters ever since their first book came out, like in AOS 1, which is just, how much beef can I shove into my opponent's face and then all of a sudden they just can't deal with it? And obviously that problem that you pose to your opponent of how much can they kill has changed as units have become more and or less killy, but I still like the idea of like this pre-game move and this huge just wall of beef just moving forward and forward and forward. I don't know. I love it. I'm here for it. So I'll take that, Vince. I'll be in the minority on that opinion. Painting helps me unwind as well. Yeah, it's, I think honestly probably a big part of my, I'm just call it a funk, a slump maybe, that I've been in lately has just been I wasn't doing enough hobby just for myself. Like, these guys have been primed and ready for paint for a very long time, and there's no reason I haven't been painting them. I've been so excited to, and then it's just like my mind just gets frazzled with all the other things I have to do, and so I just kind of keep putting my own hobby on the back burner, and it's like, no, I can't do that anymore. If I want the channel to succeed, and I want people to have a positive space online that is always there for them, that part of that is taking care of stuff that makes me excited as well. I did bust out all of my Stormcast stuff for the Knights Excelsior again, so I'm excited to dig into those. The only thing that I thought was strange, and please, Vince, if you guys did, I didn't see that you did an episode on the Stormcast yet. I assume the orcs were the first ones just because they're so much, more fun. They're just different than Stormcast stuff. But I was a bit surprised that they made the Knights Excelsior really themed around paladins. I never really got that from the lore before, but I understand that sometimes they just need to change direction a bit to include, we want a storm host that really embodies blank. So we choose Knights Excelsior for our paladin themed one. Maybe I'm thinking that's kind of what the choice was. But I don't know. A positive space is definitely what you provide. Oh, thank you so much. That's very kind of you. I try. That's why this week I was like, I'm off Twitter. I'm done. The GW scandal, quote unquote, that broke me was the what was it? Someone shared an NDA, and basically everyone and their mom became a lawyer immediately and was talking about what is reasonable and what's not. And it's like, man, what are we doing here, guys? Just in general, just as an open-ended question to the universe, what are we doing here? Have you thought about collaborating with Major Kill? Major Kill. I have to think about that. I don't know who that is. Give me. So I know Major Kill from 40K stuff. Is that the same guy? Is that what I'm thinking of? I have been speaking to. Well, I say speaking as in present tense. We talked like a month ago. Luton09, I think is what his channel name is. Really cool guy. He actually asked me questions about the last Games Workshop Screamfest, which was the changes to the intellectual property. Which is like, this is a weird thing to make friends in the 40K spectrum over, but okay, I'll take it. A friend is a friend. Yeah. Was very surprised to see you even comment on the NDA. I don't. Okay. I don't weigh in on things that are in a matter of opinion. Like when people say I don't like Games Workshop's policies on X, I don't chime in. It's not my place to comment on everything under the sun. And honestly, I take social media influence very seriously. Because I do understand that there are some people that wait for people that they follow online to tell them how to feel, and I refuse to do that. That's why I don't tell people what to buy. I don't tell, you know what I mean? Like, I might give suggestions if you offer me two choices, I'll tell you the strengths and weaknesses, but I'm not going to tell you what to buy for that same reason. And the reason I weighed in is because the core of the issue and what I touched on, it wasn't regarding opinion. It was just, this is a Games Workshop NDA, and I was like, well, that's just not the document. Like, you know what I mean? It is either disinformation or misinformation. And so I was like, you know, that one I felt a little more, I felt a little bit of weight to weigh in on that one. But yeah, that's the only reason I did. Because, you know, you see people spinning their wheels being like, well, is this real? Is it not? And it's like, well, if I have the answer and I don't share it, that doesn't make me any better or worse than anybody else. You know, it just... I felt a little bit of pressure, or I felt a little bit of obligation, not pressure. Nobody pressured me. But hey, I got a like from Aaron Dembski Bowden, so that feels good. Let's see. I've been trying to replace my GW metallics, but local stores are small and they don't have much variety. My other options are mostly Army Painter and Ammo by MiG. Oh, that's a great line. I love Ammo by MiG. My choosiness when it comes with paints boils down to what is in arm's reach. Vince is definitely the person to ask when it comes to brands and things like that, because I mean, you know, he also like experiments with things and gives reviews, and so I'm just not that kind of person. I'm just like, does it do the trick? Yep, cool, done, sold. I used to love P3 paints, but can't really easily find them anymore. I assume that has something to do with Privateer Press as a whole, but I don't know. Let's see. If Tzeentch has a silver tower, what buildings do other Chaos Gods travel in? Does Nurgle have an RV? Ooh, okay. That's a great game. We're doing this. So, what type of mobile housing does each god have? I'm going to say Slaanesh has a party bus, for obvious reasons. And it's got to be like one of those like really gaudy, cliched ones that's like a stretch Hummer with like a stripper pole in the back or something like that that no one wants to look at or touch. Or everybody uses. I don't know. I feel like Slaanesh kind of goes either way on that one. For Nurgle, I'm gonna say, what's the grossest vehicle? Oh, Greyhound bus. Nurgle just drives a Greyhound bus with a permanently clogged toilet. If you have never had the privilege of driving across America in a Greyhound bus, let me assure you, it's not good. Like, I have no other words. Did I do corn already? What did corn drive? I feel like it's something... I don't know. I feel like he rides shotgun in like a Red Bull car being driven by a guy named Kyle or something. Bull would be thematic. Let's see. Okay. Got that about done. Go focus on these. Probably equates to any bus in the UK. Oh, the Greyhound bus? Oh, yeah, I guess I haven't traveled in a bus in the UK. I went from Missouri to Texas, in a Greyhound bus. Straight shot. I was 16. They dropped me off in just outside of Dallas, and I had to wait until the next morning to catch the first bus out. And so it's just like you take innocent, well, it wasn't really that innocent. You take 16-year-old Doug and you drop him off in just like the sketchiest neighborhood in town. And it's just nice people being like, "Hey kid, you want to try drugs? Make you feel like you're full of bugs like the Oogie Boogie Man." You're like, "I just want to go to my bus, thank you." Davy Jones, will you be building an old world army? You know, I don't know. I won't lie. I'm still torn about the old world, if I'm honest with you. There's so much to learn, and just between, you know, me and my favorite 43,000 people on the internet, haven't like been super stoked about Games Workshop, like the way that they've been selling stuff lately. Mostly Kill Team was a huge disappointment locally, like, and just people, it's just really hard to get people excited locally. And so it's a thing that if other people are playing and there's a lot of enthusiasm and I can get games in regularly, absolutely, you know, anytime I can check out of this reality and go hang out whether it's the old world or not, I don't care. I'll go hang out somewhere. But if I can't reliably find games, or I don't think I'll be able to, I don't know. I'll probably just pick out the models I think look coolest and just stick with that, if I'm honest with you. Love your vids, by the way. You seem like a nice dude. Oh, thank you so much. I try real hard, and I get so far, but in the end, Twitter still exists. Okay, Wargamer Willie here. Oh wait, hold on, I missed a. Corn drives a beige people carrier because he's boring as hell. Savage. Okay. Judge Worm, thank you, buddy. Hey Doug, what do you think of paladins being battle line in Knights Excelsior? Loved the various ways to make battle lines with Stormhost. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I'm torn about it because to me the way that I was looking to kind of theme my Knights Excelsior was I wanted to have them be a Stormkeep army, so they don't get the teleport in, and have them be the defenders of Rime Lake, which is just another small settlement city thing that you can see on the Gur map. And so I was like, oh, cool, paladins. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, well, but if I go Stormkeep, then the paladins, who are so slow, can't deep strike in. And it's just like, shoot, dang. So I don't know. I haven't really decided how I feel about that yet. I mean, conceptually, having paladins be battle line, oh yeah, I'm here for it all day and night. I think that's cool. Anytime I just feel like for most models, there should be a way to make them battle line. You might make it the hardest thing for them to do. That's fair. But I like when there's just creative options like that. I think we have the same wedding ring. Yeah, I'm actually going to get mine replaced here. I'm going to replace it with a tattoo because after long days on the keyboard, for some reason it makes my hand hurt. But yeah, it's been a good one. Let's see. A bit of that. So yeah, I mean, to answer your question, Willie, we hadn't talked about it a lot. I love the idea. I'm just not sure like how it fits into the army and the lore that I was kind of envisioning. Then again, I could have, the Stormkeep Knights Excelsior sort of just be like my Path to Glory only. Like that's just their background when I'm doing my Path to Glory game. But when it comes to like standard games and, just pick up games with people just doing whatever I want, which in that case would be sticking with Knights Excelsior, but then leaning into, whatever's most effective for them, which is kind of how I like to play, which is, where it's thematic, but you still try to do the best you can within that theme. That seems like a very Doug thing. Could make for a very small army, though, which is nice. It's just 3 boxes of Annihilators. Ooh, do you have an artist, or are you just going random Anders? Oh, wait. Have you ever thought about getting a Warhammer-themed tattoo? I got 2, and I'm getting ready to Sigma my arm. Have I ever thought about it? No. Here's a weird Doug fact. There is only 2 tattoos that I have ever thought that I would want. The first one, as I mentioned, is my wedding ring. I'd love to get that. The second one is actually of an animal named the coelacanth, which is random and obscure, but my wife and I were talking about it. She's like, what kind of things do you like? I was asking her. I was like, yeah, sometimes I think about getting a tattoo, but there's just nothing I want on me forever. And we were just kind of discussing stuff that I really love, and I hate to use the term passionate about, but the animal known as the coelacanth is a cryptid that was proven real. Sort of. It's basically a giant fish that everyone thought died millions of years ago, but it's actually just been chilling near Sri Lanka, which is like, that's a cool way to spend millions of years. And I love it because there's just this idea of like, we don't know everything that's in the ocean and abroad in space, and it's just a living example of like, possibilities are endless. Our world is full of cool crap and adventure. Thank you, Mordian. Yes, it's not an easy one to spell. But it's a huge fish. Like, it's a big old mamma jamma. And it's important because it's one of those early fish that develop like rotating, not shoulders, but the closest thing evolutionary to it, where it's like, okay, so this is how sea creatures started approaching land. It can like slap the earth and like pull itself forward. It's like an evolutionary step like that. So anyway, this has been Random Monsters with River Monsters with Doug. So Doug, game question. Is the system designed to be skirmish style with a band of your guys? You put your guys in quotes, so I'm not quite sure what you're referring to there. But yes. Yeah, it's a skirmish level game. Set in a distinct and unique fantasy world. And basically your warband starts with very classic archetypes like rogue, warrior, wizard, that kind of stuff, and then you can evolve them over time, not like Pokemon evolve, but they change, they gain skills. The core game is going to be very, very simple, and then every quarter I have planned a module that'll basically take that game system and put it in the context of a universe. So to put it in I guess Lord of the Rings speak, we'll go with that. You make your warband, and then the first quarter is going to be set in Gondor, and then it's like we have stores that stock Gondor goods. We have quests and interactions and factions that you would find in that region, and then in the next quarter we go to the next section, and all of a sudden there's a different store. And so basically it's just whatever region you're playing in changes the game. 100% campaign focused because that's who I am. And I love it. Let's see. Building some Dweg home right now. Very excited to paint them. Nice, Brian. Thinking about getting my whole back tattoo of Archeon and Dorgar, Sigmar on Dracothian fighting. That, I mean, you could almost afford to buy Archeon model for that. I'm just kidding. Trying to make a comment about how expensive the models are. That's cool. Let's see. 2+ stuff. You don't mind me asking, have you ever attempted to get your wife to paint your stuff, or is she into the hobby at all? She is not super into the hobby, nor is she really into games. It's just a matter of like social anxiety. It's just overwhelming to learn new rule sets and that kind of stuff, which it is for so many people. And yeah, that's basically it. Give me one sec. So she, doesn't really care too much. I mean, she's happy to like, I did a review of Crypt Hunters or something like that. One of those games that just came out in Barnes & Noble like a year or two ago. And she was more than willing to play that, but that's because it was just me and her sitting, chilling, doing nothing. Probably the closest thing to games that we do is we really like word puzzle games that are on her phone. So we'll sit together, curl up, snuggle, and then play some word games. Yeah, no. So not a ton into the hobby. She did try painting. Well, she tried building once, but unfortunately the only models I had for her to try were the old skeleton kit, which was miserable because just getting the torso to lock into the hip joint was miserable for her. And then she did paint one model. She painted a banshee. And it came out really good. She's like, I don't care for it. Feel like I'm always doing something wrong. I'm like, no, this is the best part of painting is you can't do anything wrong. You can only do whatever you want. But I mean, her whole jam is like her passion and stuff is writing, and so that is its own creative art that she dedicates all of her energy to. So I just don't think she has the capacity for like, this is a new kind of creativity. Not capacity, that's not the right word, because she can, but wants to reserve it for what she loves. Which is fair. Anders, did GW reach out to you to become the next lore master? You got me in Age of Sigmar. They have not. No. But I'll be the first to say, check can be sent in the mail. I'm ready to receive it any time. I'm just kidding. No lore master for me. I haven't actually watched a full one yet. I watched the start of, was it Abaddon? Is that his name? And then it was just very dry, I'll say. That's my opinion of it. Which is not to say that it's bad. And there's lots of, room for improvement, because of course they just started doing it. Everybody has a learning curve, but I feel like really the hallmark of what has helped me with success is not so much the relaying of information. It's not a lack of knowledge, right? People can read about these armies anywhere for themselves or hear about it from various sources. But what I like to share is, like, I always say in my videos, what makes this cool? And then, like, that to me is the important part. Hopefully that comes through, but I know sometimes it probably doesn't. Let's see. Okay, how about you? You got any straps or anything? Give me just a moment here. I'm just picking out some very fine details on this boy. Let's see. You should do... Wait, hold on a second. Priming on a rainy day. That's the only thing you can do wrong. 2+ versus Sotek. Dun dun dun. Me and Sotek, I like him. He's good. He's good people. Very opinionated on Twitter. That's okay. It's why I got off of it. No, not him. He's not the reason I got off of Twitter, but by any stretch or margin. But just like the intensity of opinions on Twitter. but he has always been super cool. I had him on the channel a while back. He is my go-to source for anything Total War related. Like when the what is it? The Beastmen came out. I want to say it was that expansion. And people were just like alternating between raving with applause and then gritting their teeth with anger because of balance issues. And I was like, I'm gonna check this out. And he did great coverage of it. Like I super appreciate that kind of stuff where it's like, this is so helpful for someone who is not in the know. Let's see. I'm at work, so I can't have for long, but I had to compliment you on the stream thumbnail. Thank you so much, George. You have yourself a wonderful day. I heard Warhammer Plus isn't great at the moment. It's fine. It's fine. You know, I mean, it's one of those things like, I'm not somebody who's like, this is garbage and this is good. You know, it's your money. Choose to spend it how you will. I did buy into it. Haven't really taken the time to watch a whole lot of stuff on it, if I'm honest. But, you know, there's folks who are super happy about it, and I'm happy for them. That's all I got. I also I got it originally because I thought that on launch they were going to have a number of the shows that they had previewed ready. And so I was like, oh, I'm so excited to get into some of those Sigmar ones they had. And they weren't there. So I was just like, oh, well, okay. You should do Age of Sigmar and Luton should do 40k. I have not watched a ton of his videos. I should. I listened to his one on the Tyranids a long time ago as I was painting up mine. I need to listen to that over again because Tyranids are so stinking terrifying as a species. Well, let's see. I hope. Let's see. Hold on a second. Lore Masters is indeed the part of Warhammer Plus I was most disappointed by. They basically ripped off you YouTube guys. I mean, they definitely have a higher production quality than I can do. I don't have a studio per se. You know, it's just a room in my house, but point taken. It seems to be a lot of the general consensus. I mean, they certainly do a better job than like some of the terrible clip art 720p videos online that exist from like early 2000s regarding AOS, or not AOS, 40k specifically. Like, there's a bunch of those videos still in existence. Certainly a lot better than any of that, but I just, you know, my thing is, it's not that it's bad. It just didn't bring anything new to the table, and I was excited to see something newer. Okay, this guy doesn't have any rocks on him. He's not part of that. Time for my hobby of baking peanut butter cookies today. Nice. I would have thought they make the videos that guys can't make, for example, by talking to the authors. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking about. Yeah, and it was definitely my thought is like, oh, you have access to the gold mine. But okay, we'll watch your slideshow. It's cool. I mean, they did good. You know, as far as like being informative, I thought they did a great job. I learned more about Abaddon than I had before, but I was not wowed. But, and it's one of those things, it's like anytime in recent memory, anytime that Games Workshop does anything that's not like model, art, or game related, I just generally don't really care. It's like, I understand all the excitement around having like 40K be like a visual franchise. Complete with like having their own service and streaming service and original series. But I don't know. That's not what I'm here for. Whenever Games Workshop tries to do things like, for example, apps or shows or movies, it never goes quite as well as just like, play to your strengths. Put out some cool models. Write some really awesome stories. Half of life is just figuring out what you're good at and staying in that lane. I mean, always try new things. Always try. But I don't know. I just haven't been too overly impressed. Speaking of which, the Age of Sigmar app dropped. How is everybody feeling about that? I have actually very purposefully stayed out of discussions about it. I mean, mainly because I know it's a beta, I mean, like, the only thing I really don't care for about it is how it exports lists. I think it just looks very janky. But other than that, as far as like the interface goes, I think it's wonderful. A worthy successor to the Azir app, which served us so faithfully. Good times and bad. Well, let's see. About a previous topic, as a lifelong Spider-Man fan, dislike how Peter has been stuck in his 20s for over 20 years in his main comic series, while the rest of the world ages. Fair enough. Fair enough. I don't really mind that, to be honest. How many years has Bart Simpson been in, like, the 5th grade or whatever? It's fine. Although I do like when people do the math of, like, if one issue of a comic happened every single day, he would still be, like, in his 30s. Or, they kind of, like, put the math together of, like, if these things actually happened sequentially, how old would Peter Parker be? Those are always fun, because they make no sense. Okay, what is next? So I need to do shoes on all these guys who are part of the big base, but that can wait. I must have super watered it down more than I remember, just because there's still some parts that I'm like, very clearly this still looks wet, so probably not going to do that. Anders, are you ever afraid Warhammer becomes woke? That is a very loaded question. I suppose it depends on how you're using that term, because most often I hear woke used as a derogatory term for people want different kinds of representation and stuff, which I don't have a problem with. So I guess in that sense, no. If tomorrow Games Workshop said that there could be female Space Marines, I'd be like, cool, thumbs up, show me some awesome models. What else? I don't care if there's cisgendered or anything, any kind of gender when it comes to game stuff. I don't care about. Sorry, it was not meant to be loaded. Yeah, I didn't take it as malevolence or anything like that. I think you're good. Don't worry about it. No, I mean, I don't. I mean, every medium changes over time as the people who encounter it and are drawn to it changes. And so there will be a period of change. Always will be. It's the only constant. But no, I don't worry about it. But then again, keep in mind, you're talking to someone who absolutely and firmly believes that it's a perfectly acceptable answer to say, this isn't my jam anymore, and then go do something else, which is something you don't really see a lot of in this hobby. There's a lot of, I need to tell Games Workshop that they're doing everything wrong and that we should never change anything because X reason, whether it's political, religious, whatever. And I'm totally cool with just being like, this ain't my jam anymore. I actually, before I started doing any kind of wargaming content, or not even content, just wargaming period, I did RC cars as a hobby. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Until one day I was like, you know what? This just really isn't, it's not scratching that itch that I have. I need to do something else. And so I just walked away. I didn't make a big old deal about it. But yeah. Some folks just can't seem to get on board with changing times and how companies appeal to different markets, and you know, it's not on me to shame them. It's not on anyone else to cater to them. It's just what it is. Just what it is. Let's see. Oh wait, you guys got ahead of me. Where am I going here? Ugh, no more Space Marines. Yeah, just in general. I can get behind that. Oh, I can touch on it real quick here. James asked if I saw the NDA. Yeah, I shared it on Twitter and just said it's not the one that I signed. I'm highly suspicious of it, just like I'm highly suspicious of every single thing on the internet. And that's basically it. You know, I read it and compared it to what I did sign, and I have to say, if I were to zoom myself back in time to when I first received my thing from Games Workshop, the truth is I still would have signed it and probably wouldn't have cared. But because it came out, real or not, at such a time when people were already in a negative headspace about how Games Workshop treats content creators, I think that's all it was. Whether it's real or not, I neither know nor care. All I just said was, it's not the one that I signed. And please, for the love of God, don't trust everything you read on the internet. Apparently, my bottle of Wraithbone was cracked open a little bit, and now it is a dry rubber stump. So there's that. But yeah, I mean, that's basically where I fell, is just, you know, there were some other people in that chat that made the blood boil a bit, so I had to disengage. But ultimately, yeah, it's fine. Sign it or don't. How about that? That's all there is to it. Do or do not. If you sign it, make a decision you're proud of and stand by it. If you don't, that's cool too. Not every opinion needs to be blasted. Eldar rumors of a revamp is coming. Awesome. Heard those since 2003. I'm just kidding. No, I do think that they are starting to see the real value of taking a faction and then just like giving it a few kits and some fresh paint. You know, what they did with Gloomspite Gitz, I think was I feel like one of the first real times where it's like, here's a whole drop of new models for this faction. They're all dope as all get out. Love them. Let's see. Got my hands on it. Oh, you guys started talking about. Let me see. GW would make female Space Marines if only to make more redundant units. Exactly. Oh my god. Yeah. Speaking of which, I felt the same way when I was holding the Stormcast book. I was like, mother of pearl. You know, I know people are gonna like lose their heads when, if and when, Games Workshop starts, you know, calling the roster and cutting out units. Like, you know, a common thing to spectate is like, oh, they're going to get rid of Liberators or just kind of wrap them into something else or all these things. Because, you know, they are the first sculpts for Stormcast and generally not the best units. But I'm just like looking at the density of this current book they have with all the new stuff. I'm like, my God. When does a book go full black hole and just collapse in on itself? There's just too many war scrolls in there. Poor printing press is like giving it all she's got. They got her, like, you know, Scotty there trying to like run the machine. Let's see. I don't imagine we're going to get squats anytime soon. After they did the Cadian... Oh, the Cadian upgrade sprue? I'd be down with that. I actually loved that. And, you know, when people say... We were talking earlier about Games Workshop, quote, getting woke and all these kinds of things. The truth is, like, if that's all it is just like, hey, some models have representation or different types of people are represented in models more. That's all it is. Like, it's not a political movement meant to destabilize the patriarchy or whatever. It's just like, no, I mean, just put a chick head on a sprue, put her in the box, and boom, and resell me the same thing over again. That's all people are asking for. I'm like, cool, I can get behind that. Let's see. So he needs pants, and everybody else. Yeah, we can do a liner brush and just kind of clean this guy up. Are Cruel Boys the best orcs or the greatest orcs? I don't. Ah, man. You know, I didn't care for them until I sat down today and really worked on a lore video for them. I mean, between that and I knew I liked the way that they were introduced in Dominion. Not everybody did. They thought they needed to see more of them. For me, half the fun was not seeing them because they're the Morky guys. You shouldn't. If they came right out and showed you who they were, they wouldn't be very Morky. But I understand everyone's different. I loved them. Do they think they're the best in the game? I have no idea. You're asking the wrong guy. You're asking the guy who just made a case for Bone Splitters being my favorite. So, I mean, that's like... They're like the sad, forgotten kid in the corner. Oh, man. Okay, what do we got? Let's grab some... Black Templar. Sagor Brown. I would posit Doug Woke generally comes with a decline in writing lore and quality and consistency. It's all about representation and model diversity, but I don't want to see GW take the path of Marvel. I simply don't know Marvel enough to know like any kind of context for that. So here's my thought on female Space Marines and all that kind of stuff. I understand that from what you're saying, the idea of being woke comes with, like, that's part of the negative connotation, is that there's a decline. I would posit decline in quality can happen for numerous reasons, like, say, the unwillingness for an international company to acknowledge that the pandemic has fundamentally changed production quality and timeframes, and they're so obsessed with getting product into people's hands because they built a business model on FOMO that they're willing to have a decline in quality for the sake of sales. Like, can anyone guess what company I'm thinking of? That has nothing to do with social issues and transparency and representation. So, when you think about those kinds of things, I'm like, well, I mean, Games Workshop has always been a company that ebbs and flows in quality, period. I certainly would not attribute anything to quote unquote wokeness. And I think about quality and just in terms of how long I've been in the hobby. I mean, I started with Warhammer Fantasy with the End Time series, but I stuck through. I mean, I loved it. Those books were incredibly well done. They were wonderfully illustrated, full of love. And the first Age of Sigmar books, I didn't get that same sense. It doesn't mean anything. They didn't become more woke. Female Stormcasts weren't even a thing. I'm more into the lore reason why female Space Marines won't happen. So here's my thought, okay? So this is my understanding or how I approach lore topics. Okay, I'm going to read your thing, but hear me out. I remember when I was very, very first getting started into looking at 40K, there was a huge discussion surrounding the unit. I believe they're called Centurions, like the Space Marines within Space Marines. And one of the reasons people really, really despise those models when they came out, first of all, the models, they're divisive in terms of how they look. No way around it. You either like them or you don't. But another thing was people asking, like, well, where have they been? Like this whole, you say in this codex that they've been here the whole time. Well, where have they been? And so, just as Bumblegoose says, the lore is made up. Whatever the current codex is the truth. Whatever came before is irrelevant. Because you're reading this book, this is what the army is. So, if your fancy new Space Marine codex comes out with Centurions have always been there. By virtue of the fact that they are there now, and they're listed as, wait for it, always having been there. As much as this is why I rarely enjoy being called the lore master, because a lot of times with that, people will tack on this idea of like it's somehow sacred and not malleable. It's like, no, it's all made up. You can do whatever you want. The company tries to tell you as much as you can. You can do whatever you want. Please just buy our crap to do it. That's literally Games Workshop's thing. And so, when people say that they don't like that, it's like, well, if tomorrow apologies, got distracted. If tomorrow a codex drops along with a kit of female Space Marines saying that female Space Marines have always existed, they've always existed. There's no need to justify. There's no need to retcon. The latest publication states their history. Boom. Which, of course, some people disagree with. Some people want, a more cohesive linear world build thing, but the whole point of 40K is that it's a stagnation of humanity at the brink of its own death. So that just sounds like you're going to run out of models and get really, really freaking boring real fast. Let's see. They've always been there sucks. I mean, I'm not here to defend it. I'm just saying that's what they did. It's what they did, and it to me like sets the tone for like if that's their approach, that's the lead I'm gonna follow. because they did with the Centurions. Let's see, we'll grab this guy's shoes. But, you know, it depends on... You have to understand that a lot of people, and I did not appreciate this until I got numerous emails with people complaining about my opinions, but folks come to this hobby for so many different reasons. Like, it's baffling how the different aspects of the hobby just reach out and touch people in different emotional ways. Because some folks, they need to get lost in that fantasy world, and so to have that be their view of reality, it has to be concrete. And it's like, this is not a thing to escape to. 40K sucks, like, as a setting. Like, it's a very grim, grimdark. Like, it's not a place you want to run away to. But it's just how some folks approach it, and the truth is, they're an international corporation, and if they think there's profits in changing lore to suit the needs of their customer base and invite new customers, they will do that because it's a product. That's it. That's all there is. It's a product. It's a product that has fluctuated in quality and consistency and will continue to do so. These happy thoughts brought to you by Doug from 2 Plus Stuff. Oh, man. Grab some gray here. Boom. Here's what I want. I want a paint company to come out with like philosophical named paints, like Moral Gray. I don't know, man. Purge It Red, something like that. I want all kinds of stuff like that. Morning 5. No, I'm not with you on this one, Doug. That's fine. That's fine. That's totally fine. And that's the thing, is it's okay to disagree. I am fine with that. You run into trouble, though, when you see online, like, because, for example, in our exact case here, Mordian, you see people online who start to argue, and it's like, first of all, neither of you controls the property. You don't know the vision they have for it. Why are you taking this opportunity to crap on someone else in the community? That kind of stuff where it just gets ugly, It's totally fine to be like, nah, I don't like that. It's cool. That's why every fantasy property adds things differently. D&D has their module style, and Match of the Gathering takes you to a different location every couple of, I swear, hours. I feel like there's a new release. It's just the way companies do things. And it's the way fans receive it. It's just different. No better, no worse. Occam's Razor as a metallic. Oh, that would be so awesome. Anders, we can be respectful and disagree. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, whenever I try to make jovial comments about, like, if I disagree with someone, I used to make the joke like, "Come here, let me hit you." Like, I'm gonna slap that guy in the face. I don't do this anymore because Rob from the Honest Wargamer, I think, thinks I hate him. I don't really care for his content, but I certainly would not punch the man if I saw him just walking down the street. I made a joke about that, and it just kind of got out of hand. I was like, "Oh man, I gotta reel it in. Internet can't handle sarcasm." Can't handle the way that my mama raised me to talk. That's fair though. But yes, absolutely. Can absolutely disagree, and be cool about it. But it's one of those things like, and I touched on it, and I feel like this is a thing that not everybody gets to see, and so I feel like it's an emphasis that needs to be made. There are so many people, this is their world. Like, they struggle to separate reality from the wargaming thing. So when you read very inflammatory things online, chances are it's someone who can't reconcile that. Like, my world is changing. It's like, no, they changed a rule or a piece of flavor text or something stupid. Like, they lose sight of the fact that, we can, like me and Morty were just doing, we're just disagreeing about the way that we like content being distributed. Fundamentally is what the disagreement is about. I don't mind that every codex is a new history. And some people want a more linear thing. That's totally cool. There's no wrong answer there. But some folks, man, I once received a email that was a 3-page dissertation on why Skaven actually made the jump between Age of Sigmar and 40k and why they are the true villain of Chaos. It was gibberish. Almost no punctuation, but they were very passionate. That's all I got. I have nothing else, no other comments on it. I was just like, I got it, and I was like, cool. Thank you. Okay, bye. Because it's one of those things that, like, you can see someone is so invested in it, and it's like, I can't match your enthusiasm. And if I disagree, like, if there's any conversation to be had, all of that enthusiasm can get real ugly real fast, and I'm not here for that. Holy hell, I wish that was true, right? I mean, I was down for it, but I mean, he like wanted me to make like a dedicated lore video and like sponsor his channel, and not sponsor, but like shout out his channel, and it was just like, I'm not doing any of that. Mainly because he seemed unwell. I'll put it that way. But I was like, no, buddy, thank you, thanks. Nah, I'm just gonna stick to whatever Phil Kelly tells me to talk about. My red phone I have next to my desk where Phil Kelly can call me at any given time and be like, Doug, we need people to fall in love with elves. Can you do more lore this week on the Lumineth? Okay, Philly. He's probably watching this right now and being like, how dare he speak about me? Existential Dread Black. I love it. The fire in Plato's cave orange. Yep. See, this guy gets it. This is a man. I see you're also a man of taste. Let's do some browns. Brown. Do a little bit of... I don't want to go that dark. Let's go... Stoic Blue. I would go for that. Raging Heroes have been making resin minis and recently went into 3D printing in parallel, so you can buy your models either physically... Oh, that's cool. That's cool. They, I was looking into those as sort of like a potential, like, for pointing people towards for the kinds of game that I want to make. It's a little cross prohibitive for that in particular, but they do have some really neat options. let's see. Ennui Gray. I love it. Hey, Doug, do you find the Conquest minis to be used... do I find them to be too big to be used as proxies in RPGs and D&D? Thinking of using Dweghome as half ogres or something like that. I mean, I don't, as Jack would say, mix the streams of like having different miniatures mixed between games. I think that they'd be a fantastic representation of just about anything. Yeah, I dig them. I think they look great, but I'm also not in it for like, you know, everything has to be scale and that kind of stuff. I'm like, meh. Does it look like my character that I'm trying to portray? Yep, good, sold. I like black nihilism. That's great. Well, what was your education prior to doing this? Ooh, okay. Probably thinking, how dare you call me Philly? As I saw that. My education prior to doing this. So, yeah, you want the Doug origin story? So many moons ago, I graduated high school and went to school to become a youth pastor of evangelical Christianity, and that did not pan out for me. There was no scandal like that. I just drifted away from the faith and got my own reasons on that one. As far as anything since then, so yeah, I went to college to become a minister, which didn't happen. And after that, I left and I was like, I really just wanted to get into that to help people, I think was really my personal impetus. And so, then I had a few odd jobs, you know, like working in restaurants. I was a cook at Applebee's for quite some time. I did HVAC stuff, just kind of like, that's heating and ventilation ducts, that kind of stuff, if your country of origin doesn't use that acronym of HVAC. So I did a whole bunch of that kind of thing. What else did I do? Yeah, just that. And then ultimately, I ended up losing my job at the HVAC place because they shut down their apprenticeship program, which I was a part of. And so when I was out of work, a friend offered to sponsor me to go and become a nursing assistant. And by say sponsor, they just mean help with the certification to become like a nursing assistant. And so then I started working in palliative care, so folks who are on their deathbed, for several years, and I thoroughly loved that job. It was very hard emotionally, but it was extremely rewarding, just to love people in their final hour. And I honestly attribute a lot of my perspective when it comes to wargaming and hobbies and all that kind of stuff to that job specifically, because it just, I mean, to be frank, when you see someone die, you realize what it's all about, right? I mean, there's no other way around it. So that happened to me. And then what else? Yeah, did that for quite a while. I had an injury where I hurt my foot, and all of a sudden I couldn't really help and move people anymore like I used to be able to, which is a real bummer. And so then I went into the more admin stuff and weirdly ended up in medical technology as a field, where I would work with the state to set up old people with fall detection devices so their family could be alerted if they took a fall. And that is a brief history of Doug. Sorry. That went on for a bit longer than I expected, but yeah, my education, originally wanted to be a minister, and then went into the medical field ultimately, and ended up here. Sorry if that was not the information you were looking for. I kind of went on a tangent there. Let's see. palliative care is tough, but it's also a really nice way of giving a comforting end. Absolutely. We need more brief history of Doug moments. Oh, goodness. What else? Can definitely see you excelling in a field like that. Yeah, life's been a crazy journey. It has been a journey. I mean, no, and when I say that time of like doing odd jobs, I've done so much. Jack made the joke from Rerolling Ones when he was first getting to know me about how I've kind of done everything. Of like I've been inside a septic tank scraping up the walls. I have been a maintenance man. I've been HVAC. What do you call it? Apprentice. All kinds of things. I've been all over the place. I like to tell myself that it's helped me get a perspective of people, but I'm still constantly amazed sometimes, so I don't know what to tell you. I'd love to have seen Doug the chef. Oh yeah, I was just... If you've ever seen like I don't even remember the name of the show, Gordon Ramsay with kids. It's basically me. I was the only one that the waitstaff at Applebee's here liked because I wouldn't try to hit on him because I was married at the time. What else? Yeah, basically just a bunch of that. I was just like, it's just me, but in different weird situations that you wouldn't expect. I feel like that's all my life has been. Just the same person in just a variety of different sections, like they just copy pasted me. I work with HVAC people every day. Love the small worldliness of that. Yeah. Did you ever do any carpentry? No, I wanted to for a while. But it's one of those things that like if it's just a casual hobby you want to get into, it's pretty expensive with the tools and that kind of stuff. Like you have to invest in yourself to do that, and I just didn't have it at the time. Okay, Screamer Pink. Where's Beggar Red? Evil Sun Scarlet and... let's see. Like Nurse Joy in Pokemon. Literally just every taking every turn. Exactly, yep. Yes, I am the Nurse Joy of the real world. I would be so okay with that. Let's see. Doug, what do you think about the next Underworld expansion leading into more lore about Shy-ish? Maybe it's where AOS will go? Well, hopefully not. We just got out of Shy-ish. No, I have no idea. I honestly... I mentioned it kind of at the top of this. I've sort of been in a little bit of a rut lately when it comes to getting excited about GW stuff, and that's now passing, but I haven't caught back up with everything. So I didn't know. I didn't know that they had that. Let's see. Ulgu is kind of the last place we have to go. I agree. We need to go to Ulgu. And I don't want to go back to Chamon because I thoroughly enjoy the idea. All the stuff they put out there about Chamon in the first, like the Rumgate Wars thing, I always enjoyed that. Let's see. I mean, Olgu, Mr. Gray Brownin, 2+ stuff, a bit personal, but I'm curious. Are you still religious? I am not. I don't know what I am. Much like many people. I've seen a lot of greed and I've seen a lot of hurt from the churches that I was a part of. Of course, not casting aspersions upon every church everywhere, but I don't know. You know, I also understand that, like, my experience with evangelical movement is also very particular, coming from Texas, where you have things like Joel Osteen and John Hagee, and those are like prosperity gospel. You know, God just wants to bless you / give me your money, and end times, everything's gonna fire and brimstone to hell kind of thought patterns. So I'm kind of all over the place, but no, not anymore. Joel Osteen. Doug, we'll be going to Chamon next year if you'll still be joining Animosity. Oh yeah, I would love to. I'm still in contact with what is it? I believe it's called agnosticism. Yeah, I suppose it is. That's cool. No, I still talk with the guys who do Animosity, and they're awesome. I just, it's one of those things, like, it takes so much out of them to run it that I didn't want to, like, keep bothering them afterwards. I'm like, y'all need to go, like, take a nap, hang out with your significant others, you know, do whatever. go chill. I'll be here later. And so we have a tentative date to hang out and chat online, that kind of stuff. But yeah. It's always strange to hear about this stuff because in the UK we just don't have it. Yeah, isn't it weird? I went to the UK when I was 16, and it was so eye-opening to try and explain. You know, I mean, even if you don't profess a faith in America, you are exposed to them, like it or not. So, like, it's just a different worldview. But, you know, one of the things that I'm really happy about, my wife has been on the same journey as me when it comes to our faith and moving away from the church. And one of the things that I've always been very grateful for is just that we've done it together. You know, we had the talk of, like, you know, our marriage was sealed with Christian values, meaning, you know, that we got married in a Christian church and by the Christian pastor and that kind of stuff. But, you know, even though our beliefs have changed, like, you know, it's like, hey, honey, like, my commitment to you, that hasn't changed. Nor do I intend it to. And she felt the same way. And I was like, oh, swoon. As I say, swoon. So, it's sweet. It's a process. We're growing. Growing and changing. What do we got? Kindle Flame. Here we go. Sorry, Doug. Underworld is heading to Olgu. Okay. No, that's what. That's awesome. That's really interesting. I will say, one of the things I did go out of my way to point out to my good buddies over at Ruling Ones is, like, the new Underworld's board with the blue glow That is the sickest looking board that they've put out in a while. Oh my god, that's regardless of game mechanics. I think it's pretty tight looking. Here we go. But you guys just wait. Someday I'll start my own cult. It'll be based around hobbying and having a great time. We're going to have snacks, you know, not going to be poisoned with anything. It's going to be great. We're going to have a blast. Let's see. Oh, I'm falling behind the chat here. Let's see. Only the faithful. That made me laugh. Hey Doug, love your videos. Do you plan on reviewing the Champions of Death for Soulbound? Man, I need to get back into Soulbound content. I really do. I feel like I'm dropping the ball. So much has changed for that game, and I just once I had to step down from our group just because of scheduling things, man, I just feel like I just lost all connection to it, which is not fun, because it was a really cool game. Really do enjoy it, and the team who makes it is so cool. Like, honestly, they were probably the only positive in terms of like companies and people being excited about them specifically. Probably one of the few highlights of Twitter and stuff. They were really cool. All their employees are just top notch. What else? I think that's coming together pretty neat. Still needs a wash. Still got to clean up the yellow bits, but it's coming along. So it's essentially going to be like this erupting plane thing with that guy at the top. Oop. Let's see. What happens when a member of the Cult of Doug gets reforged too much? Will they leave every brush in water? Are they kind and positive to everybody? Well, hopefully. Well, hopefully the kind and pleasant part, not the, that should be my cult symbol. It should just be like a jar with a brush sticking straight out of it and the gnarly bristles at the bottom of it. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make a t-shirt. The cult of Doug. It's just dumpy taking brushes. Oh man. Gotta make yourself laugh sometimes. Sweet. Feel pretty good about that. And then only the wet brush. Yes. I like it. There's no way this could backfire, guys. I got a good feeling about it. Do you watch anime? No, not really. Things that I've seen, Cowboy Bebop, Hellsing, Trigun. Other than that, it's like original Pokemon. That's about it. Oh, Yu Yu Hakusho. I like that one quite a bit. There's some good themes in that one that I enjoyed. Let's see. Give me that. Here we go. And the cookies are out of the oven. Nice. Crushing it. Okay. in case anyone's curious, this is a pre-thinned Agrax Earthshade. So in this little bottle from Army Painter, I put, what is it? 1 part Agrax, 1 part Nuln Oil to 2 or 3 parts of a thinner, just so it kind of sits in the recesses more. I really want to get into doing oil washes, but I keep forgetting to go get some mineral spirits for it. I don't know why. It just every single time I'm at the craft store, it slips my mind. Highly recommend Evangelion. No, have not. I have heard the name. Hellsing Abridged. Abridged. I don't remember which one it was. It was way back in high school. Actually, I don't want to do him yet. You and you were the only ones I want. Okay. Good night from Denmark. Hey, Anders, have a good night, my friend. Is Evangelion the one where like they plug kids into machines and like it's like giant living robot type things? I know I'm probably going to offend people with my lack of knowledge. I don't know what Abridged was, so yeah, for the Hellsing, it was the one with Alucard, and he fights Incognito at the end. My brother was super into it, and I was like, ooh, better copy whatever he does. As kids do. You know, I was young. I was real young. Impressionable. You mentioned you like Ammo by MIG. They have some oil-based paint range called Oil Brushers. Oh, okay. There's a store, I want to say like an hour and a half away. It's on the way to my in-laws that sells MIG paints. And I was like, kind of feel tempted to try. Just more of their line. I have one. It's like a gray black, like sort of like a rubber. I think they call it street or asphalt gray, something like that. And I love it. Real good. 10 out of 10 would paint with models again. TV suggestion for you. Father Ted. What's Father Ted? Honestly, anymore, the only TV I watch is true crime documentaries. Man, my wife and I, that's all we do. We're just like, man, I just love crime. Okay, y'all want to see a piece of history? This is from the first set of paints I ever bought. What, for War Machine and Hordes? For my Signar army. First thing I had, my first addiction. And you heard it here first. See, losing the church leads you straight to crime. Exactly. Yes, I'm trying to imagine that, that Amazon suggestion where it's like, people who also liked anarchy and destruction also like crime. true crime docs in Warhammer Plus. Hey man, when they start making detective series with Peachy trying to solve murders on Necromunda, then they got me. That's how you get Doug. Which can that be? Can we just all just talk about how amazing that would be? Just Peachy in like a trench coat. Okay, well, you know, I got everything pretty much drying with a wash at this point, so I don't have a ton to do. Sitcom focused on 3 priests living on Craggy Island, a remote island off the west coast of Ireland. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Let's see if I can get this posed for something cool. I think it goes something like that. Trying not to jostle it too much because I don't want it to I don't know where that one goes. Maybe something like that. But yeah. All dudes on the stand. Ooh, question here from Andrew. Name a faction for your new game. Ooh. Which one do we have fleshed out for a faction? I'm going to go with the Maker Tribes. There you go. There's your teaser. Okay, friends. I'm going to go ahead and hop off here. It's been a bit, and I need to get some water. My God, my throat is all dry. But you know what? The internet's working. YouTube is working. Let's do more of these. I honestly, I needed this. Disengaging from social media and just hanging out with y'all is the best decision I made all day. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you all have a wonderful and blessed week. And I will catch you next time. I hope to, let's see, what's today? Saturday. I'm going to be working real hard through till about Tuesday with Auric Warclan videos because I have to record ahead and try to get as much done as possible. But I'm hope to do a live stream on probably Thursday or Friday. So be posted for that, and I will catch you all later.